Hi folks, this is Eric Bogle from Australia via Scotland, and you're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio. It helps if you're stoned, but it doesn't matter if you're not.
Sono lieto di poter rievocare in poche parole le esperienze delle prime trasmissioni radiotelegrafiche a grandi distanze da me felicemente eseguite attraverso l'Oceano Atlantico il 12 dicembre 1901.
Holy snapping bra straps.
It's a podcast. Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours, Avalon Standard Time.
Hi, this is Amanda from New York City, and you're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Hi folks, John Monro here from the Eric Bogle Band and from Colcannon from Australia via Scotland. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio, and so you should be.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
You're with the roar!
Republic of Avalon Radio, you're with the roar. I'm Jim Fidler, and welcome to episode 22 of Republic of Avalon Radio. This week is very, very special for me as a singer-songwriter myself, somewhere on the fringes of what people call folk music. And I guess that can't be all wrong because, folk means people. And if people call it folk music, then can folks be wrong? I don't know. Such as that is, and such as I am, it's a great, great honor and pleasure for me to welcome Eric Bogle and John Monro to Republic of Avalon Radio. We get together and have a chat at their hotel and play a bit of music. We talk about songs and music and life. Life, the universe, and everything. And then we just kind of put an equals 42 at the end. So that's a little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference for you folks who didn't quite get that. Or you people who didn't quite get that. Whichever term you prefer. Also, we have for you this week Amanda from New York. In case you noticed, you regular listeners to The Roar, our jingle was a little bit different. Well, that's all due to Amanda from New York, who is one of your fellow Republic of Avalon Radio listeners. She took it upon herself on a whim to come to the Republic of Avalon for a visit, a little spontaneous visit. And it was really nice meeting her, and we hung out. She laid down some vocals on the jingle. And later on in the show, we'll have a little chat with her, standing outside on a very warm night on Water Street in downtown St. John's. So hope you enjoy that. You new listeners, and there are some of you, from what we can see by following the stats, we are now at about 8,400 listeners per week, which is absolutely fantastic. A great big thanks to all of you who've been spreading the word. And we would ask you again, keep up the good work, and put a link to republicofavalonradio.com on your websites, in your blogs. Word of mouth is the best way to get things around. Us being completely commercial-free, sponsor-free, we can't exactly take out huge magazine ads or any such thing. So it's really a community-based thing. It's you guys spreading the word. And, of course, every little bit helps. Going over to our website at www.republicofavalonradio.com and clicking on the PayPal button and dropping something into the hat, as Nancy in British Columbia did. And thank you very much, Nancy. Very much appreciated. That keeps us going here. We don't have sponsors. We don't have any backers, or there's not even a kind rich person who rings us up to see if we need any new equipment or anything like that. So every little bit helps. Whether that's a vote on Podcast Alley, there's a link on the website for that, or just spreading the word. It certainly all counts, and it's very much appreciated. A single person can only do what they can do, and so if you've got a lot of money and you want to drop a big wad into the tip jar, great. If you don't have any money and you enjoy the show and you just like to tell a couple of friends about it, that's wonderful too. It's again, like I said, it's all very, very much appreciated. We're just glad to be here and glad to bring you episodes like this week with Eric Bogle, John Monro, and Amanda from New York City. So let's carry on with episode 22. Let's get things started with a little bit of music from Eric Bogle and John Monro. They played at the Gower Street United Church here in St. John's in front of about 700 plus people. It was a really wonderful night. And a great big thanks to Dan Rubin for making the whole thing possible. And you guys will be hearing from Dan in the future, I'm sure. Dan's not long with us here in the Republic of Avalon, but he's making a few things happen, and that serves as great fodder for you guys. So look forward to hearing more from Dan in the future. Here is a song that I'm sure a lot of you will recognize, written by Eric Bogle, and of course sung by Eric Bogle, accompanied by John Monro. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Now when I was a young man, I carried me pack, and I lived the free life on the road. From the Murray's green basin to the dusty outback, oh, I waltzed my Matilda all over. Then in 1915, my country said, son, it's time you stop rambling, there's work to be done. So they gave me a tin hat, they gave me a gun, and they marched me away to the war. And the band played waltzing Matilda as the ship pulled away from the quay. And amidst all the cheer, the flag waving and tear, we sailed up for Gallipoli. How well I remember that terrible day, how our blood stained the sand and the water, and how in that hell that they called Sula Bay, we were butchered like lambs at the slaughter. Johnny Turk, he was waiting, he primed himself well. He showered us with bullets, and he rained us with shell. And in 5 minutes flat, he blown us all to hell. Nearly blew us right back to Australia. But the band played waltzing Matilda when we stopped heart to bury our slain. We buried ours, the Turks buried theirs, then we started all over again. And those that were left, we tried to survive in that mad world of blood, death and fire. And for 10 weary weeks I kept myself alive. Around me the corpses piled higher. Then a big turkey shell knocked me off so overhead. And when I woke up in the hospital bed and saw what it had done, oh, I wished I was dead. Never knew there was worse things than dying. For I'll go no more waltzing Matilda all around the green bush far and free, to hunt and to pegs a man needs both legs. No more waltzing Matilda for me. So they gathered the crippled, the wounded, the maimed. They shipped us back home to Australia. The armless, the legless, the blind, the insane, those proud wounded heroes of Sula. And as our ship sailed into Circular Quay, I looked at the place where me legs used to be, and thank Christ there was nobody waiting for me to grieve, to mourn and to pity. But the band played Waltzing Matilda as they carried us down the gangway. But nobody cheered, they just stood and stared. Then they turned their faces away. And so now, every April, I sit on my porch and I watch the parade pass before me. I see my old comrades, how proudly they march, reviving old dreams and past glory. The old men march slowly, all bones stiff and sore, the tired old heroes from the forgotten war. And the young people ask, what are they marching for? And I ask myself the same question. But the band plays Waltzing Matilda. The old men still answer the call. But as year follows year, more old men disappear. Someday no one will march there at all. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. The ghosts may be heard as they march by that boulevard, who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
So here we are at the Quality. What's it called?
Quality Hotel,
Okay.
Newfoundland. There's a cut above the usual hotel we stay at.
You're more used to the Quantity Hotel.
Well, in Motel 6 we usually stay in America. It's very nice. Yeah, you know, we take what digs we can get on the tour. You know, we'll just.
Like you would, as we say here in Newfoundland, like you would.
Oh,
I'm here with Eric Bogle and John Monro.
Yes.
So you guys both. This is for both you guys. This is your first time in Newfoundland.
Yep.
And what do you figure?
Well, I mean, I just get a fleeting impression, and the weather is abnormally warm, everybody tells me, and apparently the winter lasts for about 8 months, but I'll tell you what, you know, what we've seen and the people we've met so far, and the concert last night, I mean, it's just been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, not to toot our own horns or anything, but something very special here where we've been isolated for so long. You know, you have linguists come to Newfoundland, and just like you drive an hour south of here, well, you don't even have to go an hour, but you go an hour south from here and you've got accents from Wexford and Kilkenny better preserved than back home. Than you know, so, and then you go an hour north and you've got West Country accents from Somerset and Devonshire that have been better preserved. So we've kind of got this very interesting culture after 500 years of isolation here. So we've really got something special going on here, and I don't even think you really need to be here for 3 weeks to feel it.
Well, I think there's something in there, no doubt about that, apart from the smell of rotting fish. But
No. Where did you smell that?
when I was walking down the docks this morning, at least I think it was rotting fish.
Oh.
And mind you, I had some beans for breakfast this morning, so it could have been something else. But it's interesting that the rest of Canada, you know, when we're saying to people we're going to Newfoundland, you know, it was it's a lovely place, great people, you'll really enjoy it. So you get a fairly good image in the rest of Canada, which, considering all the drunks I met at the pub last night, is quite surprising.
we were amongst them.
Well, I had a few.
Yeah, just a couple. And you guys had a bit of a hiatus. You guys played together at one point, and then sort of went about your own things, and now you're back together again?
John will tell you about that.
Okay.
Yeah. We started in 1980, kind of by accident. Eric and I knew each other vaguely around the folk festival scene in Australia.
We were competitors. We were the young cocks in the barnyard, if I can make that analogy. He thought he was a bigger cock than I was, you know.
Anyway, we met by accident. Eric was doing his first tour in the UK, and I was there on holiday, and I saw him advertised in the Melody Maker. I thought I'll go along and support the Scozzy, and so I went along, and we got chatting, and we started playing pretty well the next day, and did it through the 80s mainly, and then I just felt I had to go back to having a real job and being at home with my family and sleeping in my own bed all the time and all that stuff. So I did that for a while, and then we collaborated still off and on recording projects and even a little bit of songwriting together.
Uh-huh.
And then in the 90s it started to pick up again, and we started working more and more together, and then I gave up the day job in 2003, and it's been pretty well full-time since then.
The rest is history.
Yeah, or the future or something.
Well, from my perspective, as a musician and a singer-songwriter, you run across a lot of musicians, through your travels, playing festivals and various things. And for two people to kind of hitch wagons is pretty rare. There's something has to... What made that happen? Like, what was it about each other that... what the heck is that? What happened?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, one is that I've of course, like everybody else, always admired Eric's music and enjoy it genuinely very much every time we play and every time he writes a new song. But I think the other thing is a sort of personality thing. I mean, Eric's been, for example, in a relationship with his wife for decades. I've been in a bluegrass band for 30 odd years. So, I've been married for a long time, and I've been in the current band I'm in. I'm not playing with Eric for 17 years. So, I think we're sort of people who stick with relationships, and I think our relationship's pretty strong outside of the music. So that helps.
And now you're easy.
Yes. Yeah. Turn off the microphone, and I'll tell you more.
but not cheap, hey, Eric?
Well, I've always said, I pay him less than he deserves, and that's true enough. If I could pay him more, I would. I mean, but if it was a question of money for John and I, he'd still be a senior public servant. I'd still be an accountant.
Oh boy, I know about that.
It's never the impetus.
No.
I think we work well together. We both come from similar backgrounds. We're both similar ages, been through similar mills, and we've come out at the end of it with the same attitude towards what we do in life in general. I mean, what we think about most things in life are remarkably similar, and that helps. I mean, I couldn't tour as a duo. I couldn't do it without John. Apart from the musical contribution, which is immense, he's just my rock, really. I mean, he keeps me going. I could never tour on my own, it's the loneliest. I've done it once, and it's the loneliest occupation in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I, given my advanced years and state of health, I need somebody to give me the kiss of life when I fall down in the Matilda room with my first heart attack. So John's unfortunately the first candidate for that. He's been practicing CPR for the last year.
About that. I'm also the person who finds things. I think I'm safe to share with the rest of the world that Eric, he doesn't so much lose things as misplaces them. Objects like his glasses or his wallet or whatever. And I've become quite skilled, I think, if I may say so, quite skilled at finding things. Quite recently, as a matter of fact. So,
most people have a minder. I've got a finder.
Well, and speaking of finding, we're just talking sort of about, a little bit about, I guess, you guys finding each other. I find myself being interviewed. I'm not some sort of skilled interviewer. I've been interviewed. I've been the interviewee again and again, and I find myself being asked the same questions over and over. And as we were just talking a little bit before we started rolling, well, we don't roll tape anymore, do we? What do we roll?
Time.
Time, yeah. Yeah. So I didn't want to ask about how long have you been playing music and all that sort of stuff. I think what I probably would like to get from you guys together is not in any kind of a lofty sense, but I guess the mundane. What is it that you? What would you like to get the opportunity to put in for the rest of the ride? Not what do you? What are your goals in terms of what you want to get out? But what is it that motivates you guys? What is it you guys want to put in?
Oh dear, where do you start? I want to contribute in some small way. I mean, what sort of kept me going in Australia? being a young country, still forming its culture, if you like, for, an Australian ethos, I felt that some of my songs are contributing towards forming that, and that made me, now, whether I was mistaken or not, just fooling myself, it still made me feel worthwhile,
Yes.
I mean, if you take away the economic part, I was never in it for the money, Any folk musician who says in it for the money is fooling himself, So therefore, when you take that away, you've got to say, well, why are you doing it? Is it ego? Partly, of course it is. Everybody's got an ego.
Yeah.
Do you want to change the world? Of course I do. Do you think you will? Of course I won't. I like to... It's hard to say why I do without sounding really pompous, but I often think I give a voice to some of the voiceless around this place, I articulate what they feel. A lot of people have said that to me over the years, you're saying what I feel, you can say it, I can't. So I'm giving some sort of small voice to people who often don't have one. I'm giving myself a reason to get out of bed in the morning. I'm having a good time, I'm making friends, I'm seeing the world. What else do I want out of it, It's just, it's the best thing in my life, apart from my family, but it's given me back a lot, much more than I've ever put in. And that's, that's great. I mean, God, I'm a lucky man.
Isn't that a funny little formula though? If all you think about is what you can get out of life, people generally are just completely dissatisfied. But you kind of give your more to receive your less in one sense. But that sounds. That's a Bob Marley line.
I've probably quoted a couple of Bob Dylan lines in my reply. Who knows? John, what do you reckon?
Yeah.
About putting in, I think, off and on, I've been a social worker for 25 years, and I've worked with, child abuse victims and, young offenders and all that kind of stuff. And I really truly believe that you can probably do more good and open people's eyes to themselves and the world around them through music than you can through that kind of therapeutic intervention. Yeah. I really believe that now. I mean, the number of people that have come up to me after concerts and said, I never got on with my father, but I heard that song and now I've reconnected with him, or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think if you'd sat down and talked to them for an hour or, over and over again, you might never have got them to that point.
Yeah.
But there's something magic. There's something more to music than just music. There's something magic in there.
See, he says things so much better than I do. And I'm supposed to be the songwriter. No, actually, John sang one of his songs last night, and he's becoming a real great songwriter.
Uh-huh.
But he's dead right. I mean, music's a voice that reaches parts that other things can't reach,
Yeah.
It somehow appeals to people on a visceral level almost.
It's a ministry.
Well, yeah, there's a spirituality about it that I think, is obvious to most people who love music.
Yeah.
But John's right. I mean, you reach people, perfect strangers come up, and just say, this song affected my life because, and this is what I did about it. And you get a really strange feeling. On one hand, you're really, really pleased and proud, that something that you did has, changed somebody's life, hopefully, just a wee corner of it, not the whole life, but a wee corner of the life for the better. And you feel good in other. But at the same time, you get this awful, crushing weight of responsibility, And you think, well, okay, I said that song and I said it right, but supposing I wrote the song and I say it wrong, and I could really screw things up here. So, so I try not to think about the responsibility, which is how I live my whole life, of course, and accept the positives and hope there's no negatives,
Yeah.
I think on the global scale, when you're writing songs about political issues or social issues or whatever, I mean, the term that comes to mind for me is you're bearing witness. Yeah. And somebody has to bear witness, so that the things that happen around us, the international affairs that are happening at the moment, the songwriter is someone who bears witness to that, and whilst a newspaper article might be here today and be fish and chip wrapping tomorrow, a song might stay around for a long, long time. So I like the bearing witness analogy.
Well, that's interesting because the term prophet, it's one of those things that its meaning has kind of gotten diluted, but a prophet, what a prophet meant wasn't somebody with a crystal ball that predicted the future. It was just somebody who was seeing what was going on in the present. And obviously, if you throw a ball up, you're not some sort of soothsayer to say it will eventually level off and then drop back down again. So I think what you're saying, John, that whole business about bearing witness, that's really and what I was saying before about it's kind of a ministry. It is. It's sort of a, unless you're writing about baby and
and some people do,
and some people make a lot of money out of doing that. I mean, I haven't had that particular opinion of John's before, believe it or not, the bearing witness. And I really like that. I think he said we're carrying on an old and honourable tradition, because if you look at a lot of traditional folk songs, they're bearing witness to the times that they went in through, so you can get a sense of 300-400 years ago through the songs, what it must have been like for the ordinary people, because the songs are written by, ordinary people. So we're just continuing that tradition, witnessing, sometimes even holding a mirror up, an imperfect one, because there's no such thing as a perfect mirror. But I mean, all those high-blown ideals about why we write songs, that communication, getting through to people, I mean, you can't beat it. I'm not terribly good at one-to-one communication. I'm a fairly private person, but I find it no problem communicating with 700 or 800 people,
How much for you, like when you write a song, there's I sort of see two schools. I would call one the inspirational and the other one the, what the heck do I call that? What is my term for that? The maybe occupational. Whereas one person just sort of goes, catches the bus, goes for a bite to eat, nips down to the pub for a jar, and every now and again the big man puts his hand on the shoulder and says, "Stop! I've got something for you," while other people kind of from 9 till noon every morning sit with pen and paper and collect scraps of little phrases and things like that. What sort of percentage of those two would you say for yourself?
Well, I don't sit down and say I'm going to write a song about this. Go in a dictionary and say, oh yeah, that's an interesting subject, I'll write a song about that.
Yeah.
What I do is, on tours like this, and in life in general, collect ideas, stories, events, file them away, and then sit down and put a block of time aside, sit down and write songs about it.
Yeah.
The inspiration comes from every other source except me. I'm just the conduit.
Yeah.
So I just distill other people's experiences and write about it. I'm a vampire, basically, sucking other people's life blood out of them. But I don't regard it as a job. I don't write songs because I think the song will be commercially successful or acceptable or politically correct at the time. I have to be involved in what I'm writing about. But I tend to collect things for a long time, let them shoot inside my head before I commit myself to paper. I mean, John might have a different style of doing it. I have no idea.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, there's probably lots of in between, but I see those as sort of being on either side. Some people really seriously sit down and write songs very deliberately on a time schedule, and while other people, it's more of an inspirational thing. I suppose you end up having to sit down eventually, like you were just saying, Eric, and actually put the work together. But some writing is less inspirational than others. And I mean, quite honestly, I would say perhaps some of the biggest songs that we've ever heard in our lifetimes, the most popular, pervasive, worldwide songs were of the occupational type. Somebody was paid $5 to sit down and churn out a tune, and some of that's been done very well, like back in the vaudevillian Tin Pan Alley and all that stuff. And there's a whole pride and a structure in that sort of occupation. It's a sort of a craft that way. But then myself, I'll sort of answer my own question. Myself, I'm just a freak who kind of sees a window in the universe opens to me from time to time, and something comes through, and shag me if I don't grab it when it comes. Anyway, I'm barking up a tree. You go, John.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it would be like to be a mechanical songwriter. I think it'd be terrible, actually. I think it'd be quite painful. I guess I
don't have the discipline for it.
No, turn up at the office at 9 o'clock in the morning, get your pencil and paper out and write lyrics all day till 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Hope that something good comes out of it.
Yeah.
It might work for some people, but I find the shower is the best place for that window in the universe to open. It always seems to happen to be in the shower. And of course, you've never got a bit of paper handy in the shower. It would be soggy if you did.
You had to get one of these machines, get yourself an iRiver or something.
Yeah, I'd probably electrocute myself. But the last song I wrote, again, I was standing in the shower and I thought, I wonder what it would be like if when people grew into adulthood, they made a contract with the world about how they were going to try and live their lives. So I wrote this song about, while I'm here, I'm going to try and do this, and I'm going to try not to do that, and all that kind of stuff. But quite often, when I've written songs, and sometimes I've written a whole series of songs about historical events in Australian history, and afterwards I can't remember doing it. Really, it's a bit scary, actually. I think there might be medicine I can get for that kind of problem.
I've had that.
Have you?
Yeah, I go back. Whenever I have ideas, I'm sitting in the kitchen having a cup of tea or something comes right over me, and I'll go and, grab something to record and pull out my guitar, bing-a-ding-a-ding, and bang it down, and then I go back later, and I'm like, who's been in my house? Who's been in my house tampering with my recording equipment?
Your songwriters, you two.
Having a flashback or something, some sort of thing.
Yeah, it's quite weird though, this whole not remembering what you've done and things. But I'm sure when you go back and listen to what's there, you probably think, well, whoever it was that broke into my house, they were quite good.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Well, I didn't even have in my mind to ask that question. It just came to me as we were talking here. And sometimes it's a bit of a hard thing to talk about, because if you're more of an inspirational writer, then it's really, really difficult to try to talk about the other way of doing it, the more mechanical, occupational, discipline way, without perhaps someone thinking that you're kind of like dissonant or something. You're like, I'm saying there's sort of two ways of going about it, and I think they're both valid. One's as valid as the other. I mean, to take a songsmith, say in Newfoundland, like Ron Hines, who is obviously inspired by things, but I think he really sits down and writes a song, whereas in that other way that I don't, kind of thing. And sometimes I think I better choose my words carefully when I'm talking about that subject, or else people will say that I'm inferring that the other way is cold and calculated.
Do you know, I'm just thinking while you're talking, I think actually maybe there is only one way. Maybe there aren't two ways. Maybe it's only ever inspirational. But how you get to that inspiration, if you stand in the shower and an idea comes to you and that happens, or if you sit down and go through this mechanical process, at some point in that process, some inspiration will kick in.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a case of, and as you were saying earlier, even when you are inspired to write a song, there is a point where you have to sit down and put pen to paper and do the craft stuff.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's just. It just depends on how much of the process is inspirational and how much is mechanical, and sometimes it can be a lot of one and a little of the other, and sometimes the reverse. But I think it's all part of the same whole, rather than two different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We're
makes sense.
Yeah.
No, he's right. I mean, the inspiration for the songs is the important part. You know, you pick the right subject and you know what you want to say about it. Mm-hmm. And then I sit down and try to make it rhyme, and that's just a trick, you know. And that's where this perspiration comes in and where the mechanical side comes in. But the important part is having the will and the involvement and the compassion to write a song about that particular subject in the first place and try to say it, if not correctly, at least honestly. As honest as you can be about the subject. So, yeah, there is, but the mechanical part does come in, there's no doubt about it. I mean, and it's the most frustrating part for me. I get ideas all the time. Oh, that's got a great song, you know. But the transference from the mind down to the fingers, something gets lost often, you know. And you know these visions you have in your head, you know, and these great ideas of the song. So what happens, you know? I've been writing songs for 30 years, and possibly I've got half a dozen lines, and a few of my songs that I've exactly hit it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Other people's opinions don't matter. Then it doesn't seem much for a lifetime's work, but it's enough for me. I never thought I'd be capable of saying anything that either incisive or emotionally true or whatever, but I've managed to at least get maybe half a dozen lines out of it. Well, that's good enough for me.
I guess that's right back to Bob Marley again, and that's, you just summed up that you give your more to receive your less.
Yep.
But how much is that less worth when it's gone through that process?
Oh, it's getting a bit convoluted for me now.
Yeah.
Do either of you guys find that you start off writing a song about this and it ends up being a song about that?
I did that 2 weeks ago. I started writing a song about, I can't remember what it was about now, and then I got on the phone to a friend of ours in Cork, Jur Wolf. He wonderful songwriter. He wrote this song called The Curragh Road that I recorded on my most recent record, and I was just sitting there playing this thing, and next thing the whole chorus turned into the Irish language, and I got on the phone. I was talking to his wife, and so I've suddenly got this song that's half in English and half in Irish. That was the last thing I was thinking when I first started, you know.
So the whole process has got a life of its own, and you're only a sort of tool, a conduit. Yes.
So where are you guys off to now? After you leave here, you guys are flying out of here at 4:00.
We're going to Toronto.
Okay. We won't hold that against you.
No, well, I want, yeah, and a couple of gigs in Toronto, one in New York State, one in Nashville, and the tour's over. We'll go home.
Ah, and you're driving from Nashville to Los Angeles, you were saying last night.
Yeah, well, we've driven the whole way. We've driven about 17,000 miles by the time we return the car to Avis. We prefer it that way. It's handier. You see a bit more of the country. It can be more tiring, but there's nothing more tiring than frigging about North American airports with luggage and CDs, you know. So
yeah,
we get our agent to structure the tours that way.
And losing your nail clippers.
Well,
at the airport.
Well, nail file. Luckily, I don't carry one. But yeah, I mean, travel in any circumstance is tiring.
Yeah.
Especially intense travel like we do during a tour. So you got to accept that as part of the price of the business. And we do accept it. Because once you take away all the negatives, the bright positives remain. I mean, I said to a few people last night, it was true. I mean, I was feeling like absolute crap yesterday. I've been feeling like crap for a while. In a physical and emotional sense, both John and I are tired, long way from home and family. We're pretty homesick. And I wasn't feeling physically all that great last night. And 700 Newfoundlanders just made me feel great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when I walked off that stage, I was almost crying with just the gratitude for just them making me feel so good for, you know.
And all 100% sincere.
Oh, well, look, I would hope so. I mean, we were 100% sincere in what we did on stage, so hopefully the reaction we got from was now, that feeling will carry me on for a few more days, and then it'll fade, and hopefully I'll get another shot of adrenaline from another audience. But, you know, it was just that's the return you get out of this business. They can just, a night like that can just lift you, you know. It's the best drug there is, and it's free.
It is.
Well, free to us. It was $20 each for them. But you know, what price can you put on that? I mean,
It's priceless.
we're strangers in a strange land often as tour musicians. And when you get a night like that, you realise, no, you're not strangers, you're among friends. I know it's all Hollywood cliche stuff, but it's true enough.
Yeah.
And it lifts us up and gets us going to the next gig. Without that element, then we wouldn't be on the road at all, you know. We couldn't survive emotionally on the road without that element. You know.
Somebody called Jim Fidler once wrote a song with a line in it, everyone's got to understand when you're living in a stranger's land, you've got to find a place, because the suffering in the street could never, never, never compete with the suffering in your soul when you're all alone. And that idea of being in a strange town like a Toronto or a Dublin or a wherever, and you got to find a place, and I have found that place. With one memory sticks out in my mind is a little place in East Orleans and Cape Cod where I did a show, and you're just a fish out of water, and you're doing this thing, and at the end of the show, this woman came up to me. And she said, I'm from, I think she was from Calvert, which is just outside of St. John's here on the southern shore. She said, I left Newfoundland in 1950 after the Confederation, Newfoundland's Confederation with Canada in 1949. She said, I left and came here to the Boston States in 1950 because she didn't agree with all the politics and things went on. And in a nutshell, when I was just standing there on the stage singing songs like Rising of the Moon, not the traditional one that I wrote, and all these things, you hope that it's going out there and you feel something. But then when she came up to me at the end of that show, she could have hit me over the head with a sledgehammer, because here was this Newfoundlander away from home for 50 years, and I brought Newfoundland back to her that night, you know, and so
it's a gift we can give, you know.
Yeah.
So in return, they give us, you know, the appreciation of, you know, and some aspects of love. You know, it's a wonderful. It's a two-way, always a two-way split.
That's right.
I mean, we couldn't be further away from Australia as we are at this present moment, and anywhere in the world, I don't think. And yet, for us to turn up yesterday, 700 people come out to hear us, sang the choruses of a lot of the songs. You have no idea, that blows your mind. I had no idea that my songs are as well known or popular in Newfoundland, of all places.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was surprised to get an invitation to sing here, and then when we got the reaction, the songs were my ambassadors, you know. They travel, and people say, oh, I've got to find out who wrote these songs. I'll go along and see them, you know. And so when I walk out on stage and I see this wee fat bald Scotsman, I think, oh, dude, did he write the Band Played Waltzing Matilda? Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky in my career and John really is just starting writing songs. I mean, just a baby. 7-8 years he's been doing it. And people are beginning to take notice, because it took me that long and longer before people started noticing my songs. People have started noticing, they'll start singing them, we start recording them, and John's songs will do exactly the same. Because we work in the folk tradition, where music belongs to everybody, really, we give our songs to whoever wants to hear them. We don't say, oh no, you have to get in touch with my publisher, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, John's songs will start travelling, take on a life of their own soon, start travelling, and he'll go to places and people say, oh, you wrote that beautiful song, you know, The Border. And John will say, well, yes, I did. He'll shuffle his feet and look.
I just got a text message from a Scottish record company, and they want to put the song The Border on their 20th anniversary compilation CD.
Really?
So just what we were talking about.
Wow. Yes. And the technology creeps in.
And I can say I was first to spot his talent. And I'll say it. I'll say I knew it all along.
Well, thanks a million, guys. EricBogle.net, right? Is that the
Yes.
that's the website? Okay, and that's ericbogle.net, and his CDs and everything are available there. Go over and
You'll get a link to John Monro's group called Canon from that website as well. You can learn a bit more about John if you really want to.
okay, all right. So the link to John's site is on ericbogle.net. Colcannon?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's amazing. I produced a record for a Newfoundland group called Colcannon who had to change their name because of you guys.
No, not because of us. Because of a group in Colorado.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who we dealt with as well. And
Okay.
your friends up this way who had to change their name actually didn't have to change their name. They were told some untruths, and so were we. But we found them out. So all is well.
It's all in the mash, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again, guys, and
Okay, Jim.
all the best and safe home.
Thank you, Jim.
Nice meeting you.
Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with the roar!
All right, so here we are. We are standing on Water Street in St. John's in the Republic of Avalon, and I am speaking with her nibs. This is Amanda from New York. She has made the bold step, and she is actually here. She was sort of blowing smoke, saying, I think I'll go to Newfoundland and all that, and well, here she is. So what are you at?
How's it going? Loving it here. It's beautiful.
How goes the battle?
It goes well. The battle with Immigration Canada might have to begin quite soon to let me stay.
You know what? I feel sorry for you there because I can't imagine myself doing such a thing. Anyway, there's long-standing reasons for that some of you might know about, and you who don't, absolutely don't worry about it whatsoever. But so you arrived on Monday night.
Sunday night,
Monday morning. Yep. And tell us a little bit about your situation since you've been here.
Well, I just came up here to, check out the music. Just been in love with Newfoundland music for about a year or so now, and just wanted to experience it firsthand. It's been really great. I've gotten to see, musicians whose names I've only heard of for the past several months, and, I had to mail order however many CDs from however many thousands of miles away. And
Contrary to popular belief, males do take orders very, very well.
As they should. No.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
But no, it's been great because, not only have I been able to see these people play, I've been able to meet them and chat with them and, learn about their music and, their heritage here and how it came to be. And it's just been, really great and really enlightening. And I just want to pick up and move all my stuff here.
So you've been having a nice time, and geez, the weather's been kind too.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to have great weather, even in the rain. St. John's is an amazing place.
Amazing grace.
How sweet. Okay.
Yeah, you see, I was singing in my key, which wouldn't get me into the back door really at that particular point in time. But the whole thing, the music, that's interesting because some people go to a place. A lot of people go to Jamaica, for example, and they go to the Sunsplash Festival, the annual Sunsplash Reggae Festival. And it's not because they're musicians. It's not that they're bringing their bass guitars or their repeaters or their fundies or whatever the case may be. They're just going to check the music out. And as you are, but at the same time, you've got that little built-in bit where you actually brought a boron with you that you own yourself, and you play some guitar and you sing and dance around and
act like an idiot on all accounts for the most part.
Act like an idiot or as an idiot. There's a huge difference there.
As an idiot, and I've gotten paid for it, so.
Really? For acting like an idiot or as an idiot?
A little bit of both, actually.
You know what?
I think that comes as part of touring.
Yeah. We've had a couple of jars this evening, folks.
You think?
Yeah, but nothing serious.
No, it's been completely innocent. We're drinking American beer, which is completely alcohol-free.
Who? Who's drinking American beer?
It sounded good at the time.
American beer sounds kind of oxymoronic to me.
It's fruit punch, basically.
Okay, we won't go there. That sounds like, hey, Bubba, load them up in the pick-em-up truck to me.
Yes, we've had some excellent talks about pick-em-up trucks and potato guns and muddin', which are some for the muddin' and the potato guns are some traditions from the American Southeast where I lived for a time.
I'd never heard of muddin', and probably both of us really haven't had a whole lot of experience with pick-em-up trucks.
I have been in the back of a pick-em-up truck several times.
But we've always got, I always call that a pickup truck, right?
Yeah, I mean in the South they call it pickup trucks as well. But I have heard a couple of pick-em-up trucks and the recon truck.
That'd be a great name. We had these things that we played with when we were kids called dinkies that people might remember from the Power Hour. Colleen Power talking about when she was a kid playing with dinkies, and dinkies are like little miniature cars that kids. Put down on the ground and push around and all that kind of stuff. And to me, a pick-em-up truck sounds like a kind of a miniature pickup truck.
Yeah, it's like it could be like a little baby dump truck. And yeah, I'd never heard the term dinkies before. So yeah, I guess that must be like a Newfoundland term specifically.
What did you call them? Those little things?
Toy cars was all we called them.
Toy cars. Okay.
A ton of them.
Okay. And what do you call Boxing Day again?
Hell. The day after Christmas, hell. Don't leave the house if you live in America. And I guess New Year's Eve, that would be the night before New Year's Day where everyone parties. And yeah, get drunk and do stupid things day would be. So
it's funny, all these words and lacks thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'm kind of if I had a shovel, I'd be digging it.
Which is mostly what the States is doing these days. No. No political commentary.
That might be a bit of a long dig out.
It'll take us a while, but, I voted for Kerry, I swear.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He's a freak of nature.
Well, to quote another podcast, we had a choice between a buffoon and another buffoon.
You know what? That means no choice at all.
Yeah. So...
We're getting political now.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to choose the lesser of two evils, but unfortunately, the lesser of two didn't win. So
that really don't work. Really, the lesser of two evils. Philosophically or politically or whatever, and it's interesting, but we don't talk about those things very much, and democracy seems to rule, but. It's all that Tweedledee or Tweedledum, and both are chosen for you anyway, so What do you do?
So, yeah, what can you really do? And
it's a silly game, really.
Yeah, you really can't, there's not much of a choice to be made, and you sort of have to work with what you've got, even when a lot of times what you got ain't so much.
Yeah, this is true. And we will leave you with her closing words. Your closing words are...
Come and visit Newfoundland. It's a beautiful place. It's an amazing place. The people are amazing. The music is amazing, and it's gonna break my heart to leave here. And I'll be back as soon as I can. And I think everyone else should too.
Absolutely. And you know what? You got to give thanks and praise, bum bum to Jaja every day. You got to give thanks and praise, bum diddling diddling dong, to guide us on our way. All right, and what was the other one? Well, that probably covers it. Wait, let me think.
Just make a big, Chewbacca noise.
Yes, do it.
What's that? That's a Chewbacca noise? Anyone can do that. It sounds more like a kind of an autistic noise to me.
Maybe Chewbacca was autistic.
A Root Cellar production.